The First Date. B1 Intermediate English Story. Don't forget, you can slow down or speed up the video in the settings. Kate had just finished her first day at her new job. It was a bad day. Her colleagues weren't very friendly to her. No one was helping her, and she felt very frustrated. She didn't regret leaving her old job, as this was a good promotion. She hoped it would get better as they got to know her. After all, it was only her first day. On her way home from work, she decided to pick up some food from the local supermarket. She got a bottle of wine, some pasta, fruit, and snacks. She was looking forward to going home and relaxing in front of the TV. Maybe tomorrow would be better. The supermarket was very busy. Why did people always seem so stressed on Mondays? People kept pushing past her and not queuing properly at the till point. Kate didn't mind though. She wasn't in a rush. She waited patiently, paid for her groceries, and made her way to the door. As she walked out of the supermarket, her phone began to ring. It was her mum. She was probably checking to see how her first day in her new, fancy job had been. She took her phone out of her pocket, and as she did, she slipped on something on the floor. Kate fell to the ground with a thump. She was in shock. What had just happened? Then, all of a sudden, someone was there, helping her to stand up. As she got to her feet, she saw him. He had the bluest eyes she had ever seen. He was tall, dark, and handsome. She couldn't believe it. This was like something that only happened in films, not to Kate in the local supermarket. She suddenly felt very silly. After all, she had just fallen over in front of loads of people, and now some gorgeous man was helping her to get back up. "Thank you," she told the handsome stranger. "No worries," he replied. "You went with a real bang. Are you sure you're okay?" "I'm fine. I think my ego is hurt more than anything else." The handsome stranger smiled, and Kate thought she was imagining the whole scene. Was this actually happening? "Thanks, anyway," she told him, as she slowly limped out of the shop. Her back was starting to hurt a little bit. Kate got halfway up the street and was about to call her mum back when she heard someone shouting. She turned around, and it was the man from the supermarket. "Listen, I hope you don't think this is weird, but do you want to grab something to eat or drink? There's a good pub just down the road." Kate didn't think twice. She was hungry, and she could murder a pint of cider. Surely a night in the pub talking to this guy was better than a night in front of the television. They walked to the pub together, and the handsome man introduced himself to Kate. He was called Ed, and he worked in the television industry. He was a script writer, and he liked to cycle and go to the cinema in his spare time. He also told her that he brews his own beer and that he was renovating a camper van. Kate used to own a camper van, and she had also just bought a racing bike, so they had lots to talk about. Once they got to the pub, they ordered their drinks and food. This was all very unexpected. "I wasn't expecting this to happen today," said Ed. "I just thought you seemed nice and, well, you never know unless you ask." "I'm glad you did," said Kate. They chatted for over 2 hours. They realised they had some friends in common, and they went to the same university. Kate had studied mathematics and business, and Ed had studied film and radio. By the time it got to 8:30, Kate was starting to get a lot of pain in her back. She was having such a good time with Ed, but she really wanted to go home and lay down. She thanked Ed for a lovely dinner, gave him her phone number, and went home to have a long, hot soak in the bath. Later that evening, Ed texted her to say what a great evening it had been, and he asked if she wanted to meet for drinks at the weekend. Kate replied and said yes, but this time she'd pay and she would also choose the venue. From a rubbish first day in her new job to an unexpected first date, Kate realised that life really can be surprising. "Let's see where this leads," she said to herself as she sent Ed the location details for Saturday night. Do you think Kate and Ed will end up together? Will this be a happy ever after? We hope you enjoyed this lovely English story. Thank you for stopping by.